How's it going, everyone? Today, we're taking a look at the best cards in Phyrexia, All Will Be One for Pioneer. But before we get into that, be sure to like and subscribe for more Pioneer and MTG content, as it's free and helps me out a ton. For number 10, we have Ichormore Gauntlet. This powerful 3-drop enables Planeswalker decks to proliferate repeatedly, giving you a way to kill with Infect or just massively ramp your Planeswalkers until they ultimate. This is the perfect card for decks like Jeskai Planeswalkers with Fires of Invention, since it lets you use your latest Planeswalkers to boost all the ones you already have in play. It's a high power synergy card, and those tend to do well when they pair with cards like Planeswalkers that you already want in your deck. The -12 take an extra turn ability is nice, but the other big bonus for this card is getting to add a counter to target permanent whenever you cast a non-creature spell, making this the ultimate synergy card for Planeswalker control. Next up is number 9, and we have Black Sun's Twilight. This card is just good value removal. Early game, it can deal with small threats, and it scales as you get more mana. It's a great tool in decks like Mono Black Midrange, where you can use it early or save it for later to kill a threat and reanimate something like a Graveyard Trespasser or a Shieldred. 6 mana for a kill spell and a reanimate is good value, and it being both an instant and able to deal with indestructible creatures gives it a lot of value. Next up is number 8, and we have Vraska Betrayal's Sting. This card caught my immediate attention thanks to its ability to slot into the old Sultai Ultimatum decks as an additional combo piece. If you cast Emergent Ultimatum for Vraska, Liliana Dreadhorde General, and Vorinclex, they have to give you either 2 6-mana Planeswalkers or they die on the spot. You can swap around piles easily with Auron's Epiphany and more, but having that extra combo piece is nice to ensure that you can always make dangerous Ultimatum piles. As a general value card, the draw and the proliferate is good value, and the minus nullifying any creature is a good bonus. While this card relies mostly on its 0 and ultimate for value, I think it'll find some homes even if they may be niche. Next up, we have Luka Bound to Ruin at number 7. Luka is a great tool for Gruul vehicles, as the +1 can help you cast multiple spells in a turn. The -1 helps you to continue applying pressure against control decks while creating large enough blockers to slow down aggressive decks, and you can also use the 3/3s to crew your Sky Sovereign. The -4 is powerful and reminds me of Fury from Modern Horizons 2, except it locks in the number when you minus, so it deals X, but the opponents can't kill your biggest creature to ruin your minus. This can easily demolish board states if you have a Sky Sovereign or another big threat. Luka is an exciting addition to the format, especially since you can play it for 4 mana or 5 and get good value either way. Next up, we have number 6, Capricious Hellraiser. It's rare you're going to see a 6-mana spell make one of these lists. Like with Vraska, the Hellraiser has a mechanic to come in cheaper. In spell-heavy decks, ones that normally leverage delve spells, now you can play Hellraiser as an additional threat, especially in decks that play Dig Through Time. You can cast Hellraiser for 3 mana, then dig in response and get rid of all the poor choices you could hit. Free spells are always powerful, and since this can hit any non-creature, non-land, you can set this card up to do some game-breaking things like getting a free Omniscience for 3 mana along with a large flyer. Now we move on to the top 5, starting with number 5, Mind Splice Apparatus. While this card isn't Wilderness Reclamation or Fires of Invention, we've seen how good cost reducers are that don't cost additional mana. This card will do some interesting things in controlling decks or flash decks, especially those that play with Proliferate to speed up the cost reduction of this card. This is my speculative pick within the top 5, but I've seen enough broken cost reducers to know that even if it isn't broken, it's still incredibly powerful and potentially exploitable in the right shells. Next up, we have another Planeswalker, and that's Jace the Perfected Mind. 3-mana Planeswalkers are incredibly powerful, and the onus is on us to prove they're not good enough to see play. While the plus ability is generally good, I'm more interested in the 2 mill modes. Self-mill continues to overperform in Magic's history, especially in a format with delve spells and more. We've seen a Dimir Thassa's Oracle deck, and this card does everything that deck wants to do. It can slow down the game, self-mill, draw cards, and you can use the final ability to mill 15 or more, giving you a bigger demonic bargain to set up your Thassa's Oracle combo finish turn. While I suspect this will see more play in Standard than in Pioneer, I'm still very excited to see how it fits into the format. Number 3 is a callback to Magic's history in Sword of Forge and Frontier. We've gotten very used to powerful equipment thanks to the prevalence of Hammer Time in Modern alongside Stoneforge Mystic. In that context, this is a tier 2 sword that likely won't see much play. In Pioneer though, this is the first sword the format's gotten. 1. In Pioneer, red and green make up many top decks and can shut down cards like Rending Volley, Stomp, Brotherhood's End, Lightning Axe, and many more, along with big blockers including Lovestruck Beast, Old Growth Troll, and Cavalier of Thorns. It won't take long for people to remember how good the swords were in Standard. Next up is number 2, our penultimate card on our top 10 list, and that is Tyvar, Jubilant Brawler. What was that about 3 mana planeswalkers? Well, Tyvar is always 3 mana and is always ready to fight. The static ability is incredible. The number of creatures with powerful activated abilities in Pioneer is massive, and most don't see consistent play since they could die before getting value. With Tyvar, your creatures can use activated abilities immediately, including mana abilities. Green decks running 8 or more mana dorks can leverage Tyvar starting on turn 2 and then untap a dork and continue to accelerate. Cards like Deathrite Shaman, Fiend Artisan, and more are now able to see play and dominate on early turns, even in the face of removal. The final ability on Tyvar is especially powerful, since it can fill your graveyard before buying back a threat whose activated ability you can immediately use. Pair this with value creatures like Fauna Shaman, Fiend Artisan, or the various elf creatures in Pioneer, and you'll have a winning formula. Even though Tyvar didn't make number 1 on this list, it is certainly the most unique and powerful effect in one. Finally, we've come to number 1, and for those of you that have played Magic for a long time, this shouldn't be any surprise, as number 1 is the Fastland cycle. Am I cheating a little, picking a cycle and a reprint for number 1? Absolutely. But if you asked me what will have the most impact on Pioneer from this set, the answer can only be the Fastlands. Blackleaf Cliffs, Copperline Gorge, Darkslick Shores, Razorverge Thicket, and Seachrome Coast will all see play and will all help out 2 and 3 color decks looking to hit the ground running. If I had to rank these within number 1, it'd go number 1, Copperline Gorge, number 2, Razorverge Thicket, number 3, Blackleaf Cliffs, number 4, Darkslick Shores, and number 5, Seachrome Coast. If you're playing a 2 or 3 color deck without 5 drops, expect these Fastlands to be day 1 purchases. They help out every deck from Atarka Red to Azorius Soldiers to Green White Angels to Blue Black Days Undoing and more. While it's not the most exciting number 1 pick, it is the right one. And that's our list for the top 10 cards from Phyrexia, All Will Be One. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I missed any cards or if you think any of these picks are total misses. Until next time, thanks for watching.